A rapper who went by the name XXXTentacion
has been shot, apparently targeted while shopping for a motorcycle.
Robert Allen was sentenced to 7 years in prison with credit for 5 years already served.
What happens when a life full of promises cut short in the blink of an eye? XXXTentacion wasn't just a controversial figure, he was a musical force, a cultural disruptor, and a young man fighting his demons. But on June 18, 2018, his life ended suddenly and tragically. This is the haunting timeline of XXXTentacion's final 24 hours, and the eerie signs he might have known what was coming. The morning, a stillness in the air. That morning, June 18, 2018, felt eerily still, like the universe was holding its breath. XXXTentacion, just 20 years old, was already one of the most controversial yet captivating figures in the music industry. At his Parkland, Florida home, he woke up to what should have been a normal day. But when he opened Instagram, he didn't post about music, money, or his next big move. Instead, he recorded a haunting message, soft-spoken, almost spiritual. If I'm going to die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy.
If I'm going to die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy.
At the time, fans thought it was just X being deep again. He was known for his reflective, sometimes cryptic thoughts, but in hindsight, that video feels like a final goodbye, like he knew something was coming. Was it intuition, a premonition, or just an eerie coincidence? That video still circulates to this day, now sitting like a time-stamped ghost on the internet. For many fans, it wasn't just a story, it was a message from the other side. And that was just the morning. His last errand, a calm before chaos. It was early afternoon, sometime after 3 p.m., when XXXTentacion pulled up to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach. He drove a sleek black BMW i8 alone and unarmed. Outside the dealership, a few fans recognized him. One lucky kid even got a selfie, a fleeting, final moment that would later circle the internet like a digital ghost. Inside the store, surveillance cameras captured him. He was relaxed, smiling even. He spent several minutes browsing high-end motorcycles. Not in a rush, not looking over his shoulder. To anyone watching, it was just a regular day. But it wasn't. Outside, parked across the lot, a black Dodge Journey idled quietly. Inside were 4 men, Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, and Trayvon Newsom, all armed, all watching. They weren't just randomly cruising. According to court testimony, they had spotted XXXTentacion earlier at the bank and decided to follow him. They didn't come to rob a store, they came for him. As Yase stepped out of Riva and returned to his car, the tension outside hit its boiling point. Surveillance shows him attempting to leave when suddenly, the Dodge blocked his exit. 2 men jumped out masked and armed. What happened next would send shockwaves through the music world forever. The ambush, June 18, 2018, 3:57 p.m. It was supposed to be a normal afternoon. XXXTentacion climbed into his sleek black BMW i8 and slowly pulled out of the Riva Motorsports parking lot, his last public moment, unbothered, unaware, alive. But just seconds later, a black Dodge Journey cut him off. Tires screeched. Traffic paused. Time froze. 2 men in black hoodies and masks leapt out, guns drawn. It wasn't random. This was an ambush, calculated and cruel. They rushed to X's driver's side window and demanded his Louis Vuitton bag, the one witnesses say held nearly $50,000 in cash. He had withdrawn it earlier that day, possibly for a dirt bike purchase, but he resisted. And that moment of resistance cost him everything. Gunshots rang out, multiple rounds, close range, witnesses screamed, cars backed away, people ducked. The attackers grabbed the bag and sped off, vanishing into traffic. X was left slumped in the driver's seat, unmoving, breathless. Paramedics arrived minutes later. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. He was just 20 years old. A rising voice, silenced in broad daylight. The aftermath. As the shots rang out, panic rippled through the streets of Deerfield Beach. Witnesses screamed. A bystander rushed to X's car, capturing now infamous footage that quickly went viral. X slumped in the driver's seat, motionless. The video shocked millions, not just because of its content, but because of the eerie stillness of a 20-year-old who, just moments before, was full of life. 911 calls flooded in. Paramedics arrived swiftly and tried to stabilize him, but it was already too late. By 5:30 p.m., the Broward County Sheriff's Office issued a chilling confirmation. The adult male that was taken to the hospital has been pronounced dead. The world froze. Almost instantly, #RIPXXXTentacion began trending across all platforms. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Every timeline was flooded with tributes, tears, disbelief. Celebrities like Kanye West, J. Cole, and Travis Barker expressed heartbreak. Fans held candlelight vigils, played his music on repeat, and painted murals around the globe. Whether you loved him or hated him, one thing was undeniable. XXXTentacion's impact was massive and his loss felt seismic. His legacy, complex and controversial, was now sealed in tragedy. The suspects and the trial, justice unfolds. It didn't take long for police to close in. The investigation was swift, built on surveillance footage, eyewitness accounts, and social media traces. 4 men were eventually arrested and charged. Michael Boatwright, the one who pulled the trigger. Trayvon Newsome, the second gunman. Dedrick Williams, the getaway driver who also scoped the scene. Robert Allen, the 4th man, who later flipped, pleading guilty and testifying against the others in exchange for a lighter sentence. What came out during the 2023 trial shocked even the most hardened courtroom observers. Security footage showed the men trailing X at Riva Motorsports. Chilling text messages and browser searches were revealed. Hours after the murder, Boatwright casually Googled XXXTentacion just to confirm he was dead. Even more disturbing? Surveillance showed them laughing and joking later that evening, splitting the stolen money, flaunting it on camera, showing zero remorse. The courtroom fell silent when Robert Allen testified, detailing how they planned it, followed him, and struck once they saw the Louis Vuitton bag. In March 2023, justice was finally served. All 3 were convicted of first-degree murder and armed robbery. The judge handed them life sentences, with no chance of parole. There was no celebration in the courtroom, just a sense of grim closure. Yase was gone, but the people who took him were never walking free again. Why this still hurts? XXXTentacion wasn't just a rapper, he was a mirror. A mirror for broken teens battling depression. For kids who felt unseen, unheard, unwanted. His lyrics didn't sugarcoat anything, they bled pain, confusion, vulnerability, and raw emotion. He was flawed, no doubt. His legal troubles, allegations, and violent past made headlines. To many, he was unforgivable. But to millions more, he was hope. He didn't pretend to be perfect. He openly talked about suicidal thoughts, abusive childhood memories, and his desperate search for peace. Tracks like Sad, Changes, and Jocelyn Flores felt more like therapy than music, especially to the newer generation, who found comfort in his voice during their darkest hours. He inspired a generation to be more honest about mental health, to journal, to meditate, to seek growth. And even while battling his own demons, he tried to lift others out of theirs. So when the news broke, just 20 years old, gunned down in broad daylight, it shattered something. It wasn't just about losing a rising star. It felt like losing a piece of ourselves. Because whether you agreed with him or not, his story was still being written. And now, the pen has fallen. He left too soon. And that sentence still stings. X's final day was tragic, but it wasn't meaningless. It sparked conversations about violence, fame, legacy, and what we choose to remember. So if you're into real stories, raw truths, and legends gone too soon, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Because trust me, what's coming next, you won't forget.